Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
There you go. Now we're live.
We're live.
Now we're live. Hi.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
Thank you,
From
guys.
Detroit. This is your second live. Thank you for coming back.
Lynn Boyer waiting. Yvette. Gemma.
Yvette,
Claire,
you got your ghost box. Yes?
Lachelle. Kate. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for
Oh,
being here.
so many people here already. Thanks, guys.
We're
Yeah.
having technical issues. David and John are coming. Oh, here they
Roberto.
come.
What's going on, buddy? Ah, hold on.
Here's
There's
David.
David. What's going on, buddy?
What up?
What up?
We literally just popped on. So
Just
we're
popped
just saying
on.
hi to everybody.
No, John?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I don't
coming.
know where John is.
Hopefully.
He'll be here.
He was the first one to respond this morning. Black Onyx Cat, Rebecca
Hey.
from Wisconsin, Rachel from New Zealand.
Good to see you guys.
Happy New Year, everybody.
I didn't know we were live.
Yeah, we're live
Good thing
already.
I saw that red button.
That
I was going to ask Joe about his bed. Is that your bed, Joe?
is, yes, this is my
It's
bedroom.
pretty cool, man. It looks like
Thank you.
Dracula.
Yeah, it's a little vampy, right?
I like it.
The red
Yeah, I have
boudoir.
to do my lives in here because it gets so loud in my living room.
I bet.
Hello, South Jersey. Yeah.
All right then.
Okay, Jersey.
Team Casey. Kelvin is still sick. Kelvin is
God.
still under the
Bless
weather.
his heart. He's just
Oh, man.
worse.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Hey,
Hey,
John.
John. What's going on?
Hey,
buddy?
what's up, guys?
John here.
Hey,
Hey.
good to see you
What's
on,
up?
man.
So we just wanted to pop on a couple of housekeeping things. We got Houston. Hello, Dean. We got a couple more live addresses for the prize winners from the premiere party. Only 2 more. That leaves a lot of prizes unclaimed, which means what? We're going to have another night of giving away prizes in a couple of weeks. Hello,
Hi,
Terry
Joe's
from
mom.
Iowa.
Valerie.
Oh my God, Australia. Oregon.
Oh, is she here? Where is she?
Yes,
I don't
she
see her
just
comment.
scrolled up.
Who's
She
here?
said, hey guys, Valerie.
Ah, Valerie.
Do I have her blocked?
Hey,
Do you know your brother
What?
watched?
Why can't I see her comment? Oh, there she is. Hi,
John
Mom.
is here, I think. I see Gemma saying hi to Javon.
What's up, Javon?
Javon! That's Kelvin's son.
Tracy Wizard. Hi,
Hi,
honey.
Tracy.
Yeah.
So anyways, we are going to do another live event like this one, but we're going to give away prizes, and we're also going to do some medium readings, quick readings. And that's going to be in about 3 weeks, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. And did you guys have any questions from the previous episodes?
Alex and Chris, hi, I love you too.
Alexandra!
Oh, hi, Alex and Chris.
There's Javon. Javon!
This is awesome.
Hey, Kiora. Did you guys have any questions from the last episode before we jump into what's coming tonight?
Oh my God.
France. Oh my God. This is
France.
so
Wow.
amazing.
Hi.
Bonjour.
The love from around the
Yeah,
world.
bonjour.
Oh my goodness,
Valley
thank you
girl.
so much.
Did you ever go into the Cecil? What is that, Deanna?
Deanne.
Did you ever go into the Cecil? Thank you, Jay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Jay.
Wow. Wow.
All right, so unless you guys have questions, we'll talk about the Cecil. The Cecil Hotel, just so you guys know, we went there for reasons that you're going to find out soon enough, but it's not what you think. We do cover the famous cases. We do cover Elisa Lam. We cover Richard Ramirez. But wanted to let you guys know that we have an introduction before we get to the Cecil to let you guys know why we're going and how we ended up there. And you said, hold on, Karen? What? What's this? Have you gotten Karen to soft surface? That's awesome.
No, not yet. It's a
Her
good
poor
idea.
wrists.
Karen has definitely got snacks. Show your snacks.
Oh yes, I have snacks. I've got mixed nuts from Alex and Chris. Thank you guys. They're delicious.
Kentucky. Oh my God, we are like all over the place.
Wow.
Would you
Awesome.
be there? Thanks, Crystal.
Hey, Black Onyx Cat asked if any, maybe Joe, you can answer this. Any prep that needs to be done before tonight's episode? I saw that scroll by.
Prep, like
I don't know, prep, spiritual prep, or any kind of prep.
I mean, you could watch it. You don't have to prep before you watch it, of course. But I think I saw that too. I think they were asking like if there's anything they should know going into it. But I think you should just follow along with the first like 15 minutes or so of the episode, because that'll give you everything you need to know about why we ended up at the Cecil.
And I think that's the important part is for our true crime people and our paranormal people, just remember it's a mixture of both. And if you haven't seen the previous 3 episodes, you're really going to need to see them. Western North Carolina, hello, to understand at least the beginning of it. But like I said, there's a lot for everybody in these. The Cecil is 2 parts. Tonight is part 1. Part 2 is next week, Central Illinois. Woo! Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah, what Lisa did is she split it up into 2 parts because I think John, David,
You're
Joe,
welcome.
you guys will vouch. There was so much. There was so much going on.
Definitely.
You think?
So, yeah, we had to split it up. So tonight's episode is sort of a prep. And then next week, you're going to see a hell of a lot more of David and John and Joe and Brandon and that side. This week is me, a lot of Joe, a lot of prep work. So don't get discouraged if you're not seeing like a whole ton of ghost box shit. It's coming next week. So you're going to have to watch tonight to get the information for next week. It's all prep. It's all a story. So just follow along.
And Beth, yes.
Oh, yeah, Beth Warren. Yeah. Not going to tell you how yet, but yeah.
The Cecil is definitely wicked. I've got to tell you, I wasn't expecting a lot, but I will tell you that Joe scared the crap out of me the night before. And I have to tell you the story because it is not in the episode. We had all gone out. I don't know where we were coming from.
Yeah, where were we coming from? We were coming
I have no idea. But Joe was staying here at the house. And mind you, he had no idea where we were going the next night. None whatsoever. And I got up to the front door and he was trailing about 20 feet behind and he goes, "Stop." He goes, "Don't open that door." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "I have got the creepiest guy I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, "Don't open it. Do not open that door." And then he goes, "Richie says to say hello." And I have to tell you,
get the chills.
Went up
I just got
down.
Again, man.
I know. Scared me to death because he had no idea who or what he was talking about, only that he was seeing the scariest person he'd ever seen in his life. So I have to tell you, that's how the Cecil investigation started, was actually the night before, and Joe just scared the crap out of me. Joe, do you want to talk about what you saw that night?
Yeah, so I remember, God, I wish I could remember where we were coming from. I don't know if we were filming somewhere else first or Cecil. I don't remember. But I remember walking up the driveway to the door with you guys. And I feel like it was like a full moon or something, because I remember even the lighting was like kind of. Oh, did we lose David?
Yeah, he'll be back.
There he is.
Oh, he's coming back. All right. Yeah, I remember like it was just kind of, the lighting was sort of like spooky, and I remember just, I saw this guy, and truthfully I didn't know it was Richard Ramirez. Like, how the hell was I supposed to know? I didn't even know he had a connection to. Truthfully, I thought he was up in San Francisco. I think I had it confused with Zodiac. So I didn't even, like, he was not on my radar. And I remember just feeling this really, really creepy, like savage, almost like animal kind of person. And he was like, "Tell her Richie says hi." So I'm like, who the fuck is Richie? Like, what is going on? So that's when I stopped you, because I was like, wait a second. What are we about to bring into your home?
Nothing.
And then, nothing. So you can imagine going to sleep that night. I was like, okay. Like, I don't even think I really slept very well that evening.
It was scary as hell.
It was creepy. And he was pretty much with me for most of the day. I think the following day when we were filming, I think I spoke to him, other than Elisa Lamb, I think I spoke to him the most out of everyone. He was just kind of, well, you'll see there. I don't know if you're going to see it in this episode or next episode, but there was 2 people, two killers in that hotel. Yep. And I think I spoke to both of them, and I didn't realize I was differentiating between the 2. You'll see why. But yeah, it was.
what most people don't know, just so you guys do know, we covered this in the beginning of the episode, but Jack Unterweger, also a serial killer from Austria, not only stayed at the hotel, but stayed in the same room as Richard Ramirez as an homage to who he was. And we get into that during the beginning of the episode. But I think what happens, and this is something I have discovered, maybe all you guys who watch paranormal shows, maybe you see it too. I have discovered with our mediums that different people slip in and out without them knowing. So in other words, Joe, not that he knows who he's talking to before the reveal, but he may be speaking to Richard Ramirez, and then suddenly Richard Ramirez steps out and Jack Unterweger steps in. And it's just really interesting because I remember there was some point, Joe, where you're talking about being strangled with something.
Yes, I remember that. I remember saying
strangled with a bra, but Richard Ramirez didn't. And so at that moment, I knew that the serial killers had switched out.
Right.
And I find that interesting. And it happened to us at the Los Feliz house as well. I remember not just Joe, but Kelvin as well was, you know, one minute I would feel like he was talking to Lillian Pearlson, and the next minute I didn't know who he was talking to. And this is a perfect example. He was talking about she got hit with a hammer, and then he's just like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. She's blonde and beautiful. And I remember sitting there thinking, I would call Lillian Pearlson handsome, but first of all, she had dark hair. And I remember thinking, when did she go blonde? And it's not until hindsight that you realize later that these people are sneaking in and out, and sometimes our mediums aren't aware because they're just getting bombarded with information.
Right. Well, I will say that happens in normal readings when we're not in a murder house. You know, the whole purpose of giving validations during a reading, because that's sort of the formula. You give a validation, you give a message, you give, you know, a piece of information. When I say validation, meaning something I wouldn't know. So sometimes I'll confuse one grandmother with another, or like a dad with a grandfather who's like a dad, and I don't realize I've switched right away. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't, until they start giving me information that says, oh, we're talking to someone else. So it's a little bit harder to catch that when we don't have the feedback. So we're just kind of like rambling and don't even realize.
Hey, Joe, that's a question for you. Can you see it?
Let me see. Yeah, when you say you've seen him, Richie, do you mean like you had a vision in your mind or feeling, or like a solid physical person? No, I don't really see spirit like that. Only a very few times in my life have I seen them like how I would see someone living. It was more in my mind's eye, like I could see this man. I probably couldn't have picked him out of a lineup. I mean, if you showed me a bunch of different pictures and I didn't know who Richard Ramirez was, I might have actually been like, yeah, you know what, maybe. Because I didn't really see his face very detailed. It was more feeling his energy. I feel like I have a vague memory of seeing like really stringy hair or something, or like I had like a very basic description or profile, I think, in my mind. But I couldn't like draw him or anything, if that makes sense. But it really is more of a feeling and a general appearance thing.
You could probably do better than the police drawings of him. What happened to Casey after he fainted in the house? Just so you guys know, that is coming up.
Episode 6?
Yeah, episode 6. So about 3 weeks away. You're going to see Kelvin a lot in tonight's episode.
He was fine.
And he is fine. The bones that Casey found under the house also coming up, not the next episode. That is
9 or 10.
4 episodes away, I believe. Yeah. We're going to do a second links episode that kind of show all the correlations of the past 4 investigations and all the links and how the web of connections is growing and growing and growing and growing. So all that's coming up in future episodes.
Don't worry, I took the bones to the appropriate person. They weren't lost. I didn't, I didn't just slough that off. I took them, I'll just say, to a very appropriate person, and you'll find out.
And I have to tell you that those bones and the soil samples were in our garage for
a while,
years. And every time I walked in that garage, it got the creepiest feeling. Like especially if the cars were out of the garage and I walked in and it was just a big empty space, I would always just like go, when you get that feeling that something's there, there's just something there and you're not quite sure what it is. that's what was up with the bones. David and John, what do you guys got to say about Cecil?
What don't you have to say about the Cecil?
John, you wanna start it off?
I think it was a very, very, very one of the top 3 haunted places I've ever investigated. Richard Ramirez, that room was it wasn't good. Wasn't good. Elisa Lamb, it had more of a sad feeling in her room. Very like sad feeling, almost like, I think, David, you were crying, right?
So were you, John.
You were kind of like tearing up, or
We don't want to give any spoilers out.
Oh,
no,
okay.
but I was like really surprised at how emotional you guys were, and that's all we're gonna say
So,
about that. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't go into it maybe next week or the week after, because after it all comes out. But I did feel a connection with sorry, I was reading a comment. I did feel a connection with Elisa. I can say that because it's not a spoiler. But when I went in there, I felt a connection with her for some reason. I don't know why. I felt like she was trying to talk to me as soon as I walked in the building. Or maybe just because I was always interested in her case, like so many of us, even in the comments. I'm sure a lot of people are really fascinated with the mystery of Elisa Lam because it's such a mysterious case. There's video footage, and obviously they found her body up there, and it's a really interesting case. But being there, I felt her presence immediately, very, very strongly. And I was like telling people, and they were just like, okay, whatever, like John and stuff, John's like, oh, okay, whatever. But I really felt her presence. And then you'll see in the upcoming episodes what happened with that. It's very
Wild
interesting. Yeah.
I think John and David, emotions when you're dealing with something like that are totally natural. It's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed of. And
No.
I've never actually done that before. I don't want to do spoilers, but I don't really get emotional on ghost hunts. And it wasn't even like a long thing. You'll see, it was just like a momentary burst of like some kind of sad energy that hit me, or more of like a shock almost. But we'll talk about that at another time in the future.
Yeah, agreed.
hey, John,
We'll go over that later.
What's up, Lisa?
what you said? What were the other 2 top places that were the most haunted?
Oh man.
For me, that I've ever been to is Manteno State Hospital.
For sure.
In Illinois. Manteno. It used to be an old insane asylum. And the Joliet prison.
Joliet, and you spent a lot of time there at Joliet, huh, John? You were a host there, or a guide there?
Yes, I was one of the lead investigators when it first opened up. Helping Ursula with giving the ghost tours, the ghost tour parts of it. But that was a pretty messed up place there too.
Yeah, I bet.
So, Christine, to answer your question,
Yeah.
I believe you get an exact idea of what happened to Elisa Lam, and it straddles both sides, and I'm not going to tell you any more than that. But yes, you get a very clear understanding.
A much clearer, I won't say exact because that's not fair. But I do think it'll be a lot more clear to you after tonight. I'll just say that, and that's from my perspective. Joe's and David and John, we all toss ideas back and forth. None of us ever call bullshit. I mean, we just all of us kind of like toss ideas to each other. We listen to one another and we take it all in. And that's kind of what's unique about this team, is that nobody claims to be right or wrong. We just kind of go, okay, well, here's my investigative side, here's my psychic medium side, and here's my paranormal side. And we all kind of come together and go, okay, well, none of us were here. So there you go.
I want to add to that if I could.
That's part of the fun of the audience is let you guys decide. We present the evidence and then you guys get to decide what happened.
What was that, Joe?
I think that was David that started.
That was David, yeah.
No, I just wanted to add to what Karen was saying as well, because she was talking about different ideas we have, and like me and John a little bit too. We kind of go on sometimes off on the more paranormal and sometimes even conspiracy theories side of things. So, and Joe's got the medium stuff. So with Karen in the mix, it's really cool because I actually remember an exact moment at the Cecil when I was talking to her. And then what did you say, Karen? I can't remember what the term is, the detective's term, like Achilles heel or something like that. Is that what it's called?
Occam's.
Occam's razor. Yeah, there you go. So that was really cool.
Yeah, Occam's razor, I mentioned it, and this is no spoiler at all. When you go into a crime scene or an investigation of a criminal act, the way that forensic people think is to use Occam's razor, which is all things being equal. The simplest explanation is normally the right one. It doesn't always work that way, but that's kind of how we interpret things, and we start looking for things, and then we start piecing it together. So I use that in tonight's episode as an example. And thanks, David. I didn't even realize you heard me say that.
Yeah, I remember random things really well.
Yeah, that's
I think
awesome.
Just to address Christine, because you were saying intuition with law enforcement, I think that's really interesting. And I think it's one of the reasons why I picked Karen is because, anybody that is open to or intuitive in any way, I think has a much higher solve rate than anything else. And I've always told Karen from the beginning, even though she's not a total believer, that I was like, how do you think you found that one hair or that one piece of evidence? Don't you think it's even possible that spirit was guiding you? And then there's just the intuitive part of it.
Somebody, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, but there was a question about the intuitive side of law enforcement.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so, here's the thing. Law enforcement officers, they'll use the term sixth sense. And that's because you can, when you go into a building to clear it, or you're going to a domestic and you get that gut, you get that weird sense on the back of your neck where your hair stand up before you get there, you better go from yellow to red. You just know. Well, in my view, yeah, I had that happen many, many, many times. So what's the diff? You call it a sixth sense. You call it intuition. Joe calls it psychic mediumship. These guys call it paranormal. It's in the ether. It's energy. It's the thing that you can't, as a human being, quite quantify. You don't quite have a name for it, but people use different names to almost describe the same stuff. So for me, I haven't taken the complete leap yet, but that sixth sense, that intuition, that gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, when you go into these locations, including the Cecil Hotel, and you're there for how long were we there? 15 hours?
More
to 18 hours, something like that. Let me tell you something. When that pit is there the entire time, and you're on yellow and red all day and all night, something's up with that place. Something is up with it. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And Black Onyx Cat, to answer your question, no, it is no longer operating as a hotel. Some of the history of the hotel that we don't cover in the beginning of the episode, just so you guys know, I read a bunch of books about it. And basically what happened was a company came in and they changed the name to Stay on Main. And they took what they initially wanted to do was turn it into full hotel, and they wanted to remodel the whole thing, revamp the whole thing, put bathrooms in every room, blah, blah, blah. The reason that they couldn't and still can't to this day is because they had a number of tenants that were living there, permanent tenants as apartments. And the city of Los Angeles would not allow these people to renovate the hotel itself because it was considered a permanent housing. So no matter how many people came in, I think 2 other companies have come in and tried to revamp the hotel. They couldn't do it because of the private tenants that were in there.
Yeah, one was a major hotel chain that I won't name.
I think Best Western was one of them.
You'll name it.
That they came in.
I wasn't going to.
It's in a book. I'm
not true. It is in the book. I forgot about
so
that.
They really wanted to, and then they couldn't. And what happened was, I don't know how many years ago, it was deemed a historical building,
Monument, yeah.
Which means that they can't touch the outside of it. But the people who bought it the most recently erased the Cecil Hotel sign on the outside of the building, which they were not allowed to do, and they put a big heart up there.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
The big red sign from
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
like
They
messed up.
and
Yeah.
put a blue heart. And I'm like, you know what?
Which is not going to
It's
help
not-
anything or
Not a
change
thing.
the history
And
of
it
it.
just was rude. It's like, God, you know, it's a landmark. Maybe you don't
Yeah.
like it, but damn, that sign has been up there
Right.
for years.
Yeah.
What the hell's the matter with you?
So
I could not imagine living there.
no.
No.
God, no.
And
Goodness
What?
gracious.
No
is
way.
it's now low income housing, drug rehab kind of place, and nobody's allowed in there
Right.
at this point, or at least as far as I know.
Yeah.
We were down there having dinner at Kohl's a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it is for Skid Row tenants now, but it's subsidized by the state of California, the city of Los Angeles.
There are rules.
Um,
They have strict rules to be able to live there. So this is not like a free for all.
yeah, they can't be on drugs.
These folks are really seriously trying to straighten their life out. So
Yeah.
so give them some credit.
Yeah.
They're not living there to be a blight. They're living there because they want to change and they want to make their life better. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, and it's a rough life that, you know.
Yeah.
Times are tough. I can't even imagine what some of these people have been through. But
Yeah.
we were down there having dinner, and we stopped by and we talked to this one guard that was outside, and he had the most interesting story because he started talking about the paranormal without us saying a word to him about it. He said, "You know, these streets are haunted, right?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Oh." Because the demons are everywhere. Why
They come
do you,
out at night.
because it's such
Yes.
easy feeding, because you have these weakened souls and weakened minds, and
Mhm.
it is just and his words, it's a feeding frenzy for the demonic.
I felt that completely in that area. 100%.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
100%. It's like zombies walking around, and like you can feel the energy feeding on them completely. I mean, it's really sad, but you can feel it.
Yeah.
When we were there talking to this gentleman, super nice guy, super knowledgeable guy. He told us his little story. He had been in prison. He got out. He got a job there as security. And while he's talking to us, he's rolling a big fatty in like a dollar bill.
Which is here.
It's legal. It was just funny because he's just like talking and rolling this big fat, you know, Marley joint. But he was a super cool guy, and he's talking. And as we're talking to him, the sun is setting, you know, and he's looking around, and he's like, "You ladies should probably head to your car." And we're like, "Well, we were going to talk to you." He goes, "Probably not now. It's probably time for you to go." And sure as shit, I kid you not, as soon as he said that, about 30 yards from us, in front of like a little coffee shop or bodega, there was a fist fight. Like people were going like at it, a pile on. And I looked at Lisa and went,
"Gotta go.
Time to go."
Gotta go.
Hey, Joe, there's a question for you.
Yes, I see that. So, what I do to stop spirit from coming to me when I don't want to. So, I've been doing this for like 13 years already professionally, so I have pretty good boundaries. It's sort of like an automatic thing that happens if I'm not tuned in. I'm just kind of like not tuned in, if that makes sense. Like I'm not listening. It's like I have my radio turned off or my antenna put down. But I actually, it's funny you asked this, because something funny happened to me earlier. I was taking a nap earlier this afternoon because I was like, let me be fresh for the live. And I woke up to my bell ringing over and over again, like on my door to my apartment. And I woke up and went to the door and no one was there. And then I thought about the sound of the bell and I was like, wait, that's not even the sound my bell makes. And I was like, they just woke me up for whatever stupid reason. So I do have more occurrences of that, I will say.
I was going to say, you had that happen after an investigation.
I did. Well, what's funny,
that you got home.
Yes. The only things that really get through my, I don't want to say defenses because it sounds like I'm under attack, but my barriers that I put up, will most of the time be stuff from the show. More times than not, when I'm minding my business and something pushes through, it's usually voices from the grave related. But I will say too, if somebody just really needs a message and I'm minding my business, I'm out at a bar, I'm at dinner, I'm at a party, whatever, and something gets through, I always honor that because I have such a good I keep wanting to say defense system. I promise you, I'm not under attack. I'm fine. But I have such a good
That
kind
why
of
you're not under attack is because you have such a
right.
good.
I have a good defense system. But when someone does get through, when they open that door, when they ring my bell, literally, um, I know that somebody really needs that message. So I don't mind it so much when it happens. Like even when the bell thing happened just now, I was like, all right, maybe I would have fell into a deep sleep and I would have been late to the live or something, or I don't know. Maybe they were doing me a solid. It's never been anything, negative. But you have to train yourself like anything else. You have to train yourself to have that boundary to not, because you'd be drained all day. It's your life force you're using. So you have to kind of just keep your energy close when you're not working, basically.
Right.
I think
Yes,
that's like a very
Yeah.
interesting thing because, our mediums work from their gifts, and John and David work on a different level. But I think that you guys are both, especially you, David, I think are very sensitive and intuitive and can feel things that are happening and know what's happening. Do you guys want to talk about that? Because it's the same thing, just on a different level,
Yeah, I think it's a little different. With me, I don't think I had it before I started ghost hunting too much. But the more I started ghost hunting, or maybe I did, maybe it's kind of what made me a good ghost hunter. I don't really know. But when I go into locations, I can feel every location has its own unique energy, and you can sense it as soon as you walk in. And it's almost like sometimes it's like a ghost radar. I'm looking at it a little bit more scientifically, like specific EMF. You can almost feel it sometimes when you tap into it. I have to be careful though, because when you open yourself up to a location, if it's a negative location, it could really mess you up. And I've suffered from that. So I'm very cautious these days about doing that. Because I haven't done the research and everything about how to protect myself in that regard. But I know John practices that stuff a lot, more than I do. I just have it from all the ghosts that have been around me, hundreds and hundreds of spirits flying into my body and stuff, literally. But John, he's a little bit more into that stuff. So John, you want to say anything about that?
Usually when I go on a location, I could feel the spirits. I could feel out the location, just like David. I usually don't talk about it, but when it comes down to it, though, when I get home, I definitely need a cleansing of my energy and my spirit and my soul. Especially the Cecil Hotel was so strong and so it was a terrible feeling of all that stuff, all that negative stuff. And yeah, we feel it. We feel it. We could sense it out. But I try to practice being spiritual and doing good things and all that stuff. But
Yeah, and I think.
Super low
Sorry.
key. John is like super low key on set. He's very like straightforward and just very focused and like doing the job. But you don't get the sense from John about anything bothering him. He
only
sort of,
I think that David could tell when something bothers me. He's like the only.
Oh,
one
you guys
that
have
can
been
tell,
working
like,
together for so
Yeah,
long.
yeah,
We know each other's vibe.
okay.
Yeah, I could see it on John's face.
So, Dave, what do you do when you have a problem at home? When something's followed you home or spirit has gotten to you, what do you do about it?
Well, I think me and John have different methods of where we go. I'm more of the Christian method, and John's more of the sage and
Spiritual.
Yeah,
Maybe
that stuff.
Reiki or something, or
Yeah, there's different methods. I think it boils down to, in a more universal protection, is if you have a belief, the belief is strong, spirits can feel that belief, and it comes out in a form of energy emitting from your actual body, your belief, and they can feel that. And it's kind of like a shield, and that's what I believe.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the difference between, a lot of people, Christian or Catholic faith, is a lot. And I think that a lesson to be learned by a lot of people, including myself, which you won't see until episode or the second part of the Cecil is, so many people invoke God's name or Christ's name to get an answer. And if you're not somebody like David, who's in church all the time, you can find out that they're just going to laugh at you. And so I think it's a big difference between, how Joe deals with it, which is his protection and his guides and his angels. David, who is like, I have my Christian belief, and therefore you're not going to touch me and nobody's going to hurt me. And then you have John, who's on a more spiritual level. And I think it all makes for a really good, strong team.
I think it's all connected, whether you want to believe one thing or the other. Like praying, you got praying, and then more on the spiritual side, people call that law of attraction. So it's all kind of connected, I think.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I'm a law of attraction. I've actually started meditating, and that was for both healing and for my own well-being, because I was not doing what I had been advised to do, being the stubborn pain in the ass that I. No, it's true. It's true, because I've worked so many homicides and so many murders, and I never thought about any of this before. And I was so focused on the job. If anything like that was going on, and there were places where there were more unsettling places than others, but I was not focused on that. I was focused on the job. Now that my job has changed and shifted a little bit, I'm more aware of it. That sixth sense, that intuition, whatever, is more upfront. And so yeah, I've started listening to what these guys say, because sometimes just going home and taking a shower ain't enough. Sorry, it's just not.
It's true.
That's an interesting question. Does this take any type of toll on your body and mental state? I'm going to start off and say the first thing David said or texted when we got home from the last investigation: does anybody else have a paranormal hangover? And I always feel that. It's just this, it's a little bit like a flu, and you're just exhausted and your eyes burning, and you feel like you've been on a bender. Joe, I see you nodding. What does a medium go through afterwards?
I mean, that's our biggest concern, I think, is getting burnt out. I refer to it as like energy burn. Like it's almost like you've had too much, and it feels like that, like sun poisoning sickness, almost like you get tired, you're super drained, you're like you're not sick, but you are sick. You get super exhausted, and you do get emotionally and mentally exhausted, which is even more important to recharge that part of it, because the physical part of it, like you eat a steak or a bowl of pasta, you eat something grounding heavy, you take a nap, you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, you should pretty much feel better physically. But the mental, the emotional mental part of it is, you got to really take care of that. That's why you need to do, salt baths and cleanse your energy, or pray, or reconnect, meditate. It's really, really important to get back on a higher frequency, because even if you investigate somewhere and let's say it's haunted, but it's not haunted by anything bad, maybe nothing bad happened there, and a family's just super attached to the home or the mansion that you were in, that's totally fine. But it's still, I always use this example, like if you were going to take a bath, would you take a bath in your child's bath water, or would you drain the water and use fresh water to clean yourself? Even though it's your baby, you love them more than anything, you're still not going to take a bath in somebody's dirty bath water. That's what being in someone else's energy is like, even if it's not negative. So you can imagine how many times that's amplified when you're in a house where someone was murdered, or horrible things happened, or there was trafficking, or mob activity, or all of these things, which you will hear about in subsequent episodes. Like, we really just are kind of in the dirtiest swamp water energy that you could ever be in all the time.
So really quick, I just wanted to address this question. Can any of you protect others in the moment? And I think David answered it in the thing, but I also want to say that I think when we're a little bit separated, in other words, if John and David are doing one thing and me and Karen and the mediums are doing something else, we can get a little hammered. But what I do find is that when we all come together as a team, and at the end of the night, and we're talking or we're doing a ghost box session, I do believe that our collective energy together and the support we feel for each other does help protect us. And for the most part, it's each of our responsibilities to do whatever we can to protect ourselves and therefore protecting the rest of the team. But I do believe that the energy of the entire team working together does help protect us in many, many ways.
Yeah,
that's
I
my
agree.
thoughts.
Well, I think the higher your vibration is, the more protected you are just naturally. And when you're with, when you're with people you care about, when you're together, when you're not alone, you're less afraid. There's so many things when we're together that help us.
Right.
And John and David, you guys have the most experience with this. You want to take that question? How do you prevent these entities from following you off the site?
Well, John knows. Every time we leave a place, we say a prayer. That's the first thing we always do. I'm sure other people have different things they need to do, they want to do. Some people don't think it's necessary, but it's something we always do. Even if me and John have different ideas and opinions on this topic, we still do it, and we do it powerfully. So that's the first thing we do. There's other things that you can do. Just putting out that intent inside you, staying on that high frequency, like Joe was talking about. That is a really good way to prevent them from coming home. And sometimes in the past, I've had them slip through the cracks, and things have followed me home. I won't go on about a bunch of different times it's happened, but I've had physical stuff happen the same night when I came home before. Knocking on the walls, things coming, and then I just commanded it to leave, and it did. Other times, like when I was at Bobby Mackey's, was the standout memory in my mind. Something really attached to me, and I ran to my grandma, clutching her rosary. It was really bad. But John, I'll let you pick up on that. How do you prevent them from coming with you when you leave a location?
Pretty much just like you said. I vocally speak out. Spirits, you cannot come home with us. You must stay here. And there's other certain ways I do things when we leave a location as well. And actually, when I get home too, like I'll burn some sage, and I'll take a shower, with salt, and cleanse myself, and pretty much that's it.
I know that's how Casey will not leave the United States
without
getting in the ocean and the salt and cleansing himself.
Nice.
Because compared to New Zealand, we are such a dirty country that is filled with so much more negativity than
just downtown LA. Is just dirty.
It's wild down there.
Filthy down there.
Karen, question for you.
Yeah. It's hard for me to answer, but I'll tell you this. And it has nothing to do with the show. I'm going to go back to 2005. The first time that I took a case home with me, I had a recurring nightmare. I mean, for years, decade or more. Young woman who had been murdered. I went back and saw her over, and I'm not going to give you the gory details. It was terrible. It was just terrible. And her head would turn, and she'd open her eyes and look at me and say, "Help me." And we were having trouble catching who did it. We were having trouble, and I finally, call it divine intervention, call it her, call it intuition, call it what you will. I found the one piece of evidence in a truck that led us to who did it. And it was not easy to find. It was small, and it was like insane. So yeah, I'll say you call it spirit, you call it whatever. But yeah, I have had that happen, and the nightmares are where nightmares and dreams are my sort of thing. Like Joe, he has dreams. I have horrible or crazy or like I don't know if they're premonitions. You guys have words that I don't use. Very, very, very vivid dreams. And I think you'll learn about that tonight too.
Hey, Joe, do you want to take this one on? What does salt do?
Yeah, so you know what? I think I may be saying the name wrong, but salt, I believe, has, I think it's called negative ions.
Yes.
Is that what is that right, Karen?
Yep.
And there's something about the negative ions in salt, especially like when mixed with water, or if you have those like Himalayan salt lamps, they'll like discharge the negative ions, and it does something to like energy fields. And I'm talking like on a like scientific level. And people have attributed to that to like people being in better moods, and it helps with depression and things like that. And that was discovered many years after people were taking salt beds. I mean, people have been using salt as a cleansing thing for God only knows how many thousands of years. But
Right.
there is some science to kind of back it up, because they do believe that, like, the beach has a lot of, like, when you're by the shore, there's a ton of negative ions there, and people feel better there. And yeah, you could say, okay, because it's beautiful, blah blah blah. But why do we think it's so beautiful? Why are we so drawn to it? And a lot of people think that there's some kind of actual physiological thing going on with these negative ions as well.
Also, just to put a cap on that, you're right. And if you're ever ill or you're dehydrated or hungover, if you just take a very small pinch of salt and put it in a bottle of water, it's electrolytes. It rehydrates. It balances your electrolytes, and that is so important. It'll make you feel better when you're sick. It'll make you feel better if you're hungover, if you're tired, if your muscles are sore. All of those things. That's what Gatorade and these sports drinks have a lot of sodium, electrolytes that feed your muscles, that feed your body again. So Joe, it's the same principle.
Yeah.
Hey, David, do you want to take on this question? The impact of the rise in ghost hunting have on the prominent locations?
Oh yeah, I didn't see. Oh, here it is. What sort of impact do you feel the rise? So that's actually a great question, and me and John have encountered that a lot. So it ties into another question, which somebody asked: why are the spirits trapped there? So I'll follow up on that. But in short, I think that when we've gone to famous locations, we find the energy to be different than not so famous locations. John, you can back me up on that. When we go to the really popular locations, it's like it feels like the energy's been ran through, trampled through, and also the spirits are more familiar to who we are and what we're doing there. They know how to communicate with us a little bit better. And when we go to places that are untouched, there's a few places we've been to that were virtually untouched. There's this place in Joliet, a house, really haunted mansion. Nobody had ever investigated. And it was just like the energy there was so fresh and extreme. Joliet State Prison, the energy was fresh and extreme versus something like Waverly Hills. And there's people there all week, every week of the year, trying to communicate. And these spirits are like, we know what you're doing. They start playing tricks on you. Some spirits have fun with it. Some will just straight up hide from you. And they don't want to. They're just tired of it, I feel. And people saying, why are they stuck there? Well, I'm not going to get into that. But there's some theories about why spirits can't leave, but it would take too much time. What are your thoughts on that, John, about the locations?
I pretty much I'm with you on all that. As far as locations being with activity and stuff like that, like I don't know. I'm sorry. I lost my chain of thought here.
I think the other side that goes along with all this, if you see us looking over here, it's because we have raccoons and cats that come that we put food out for every night. And there's this beautiful fluffy kitty that has shown up. And I just keep looking at her going, oh, goodness.
Hi, pumpkin pie.
The other side of that question is how much do people going in and talking or investigating, how much does that amp up the energy? And I think what's going to be really interesting is in a couple weeks, we're going to have Elfie Music and Katrina Weidman on for one of our lives. And she's going to talk about that because she has a whole theory about that and how it can pump up that energy? And does it change how, like David was saying, how the spirits will reply or respond? And do they start playing games with you? And are they there to just scare you or whatever? And it's a really interesting question, but you're going to have to watch that live with Elfie, because it's really interesting when you delve into that.
I'll tell you what I'm going to answer. Mary Salazar, do you guys believe that going out into the woods forest? Let me tell you something. If I feel ungrounded, if I feel off, the first thing I do, and I've done this my whole life, is I take off my shoes and I go walk in the grass and I touch a tree.
Yeah.
That is not a joke. I have done that since I was a child, climbing trees, being close to nature, being barefoot in the grass. It is such a grounding, incredible thing. I don't know what the earth does. If you get the energy coming up from the earth, or your bad energy goes back into the ground as a negative, I don't know what it does, but it is instantaneous. Instantly. Go hug a tree. That's not a joke. It's an old hippie trope, but they weren't wrong. Go hug a tree. It feels good.
Yep.
Just make sure there's ants on it.
And
it's
Karen,
also a good way of draining out the negative energy, as Joe, you want to talk about that at all?
Oh yeah, I mean it's very grounding, like you said, Karen. Like literally walking on the ground is very grounding. But I think that getting back into nature, whether it be a forest or whatever, a jungle, the ocean, whatever, it's very important, because we sometimes as humans we get wrapped up in our 9 to 5 jobs and going to Walmart and blah 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 blah, and we forget that we're animals. We're creatures of the earth, right? And we can go months, some people even years, without actually being in nature. So it's super important to reconnect with that. And I know that very well because I live in Manhattan. So like, what fucking tree am I hugging? You know what I mean? Like there's probably cat pee on it. I would never hug a tree in my neighborhood. God only knows what's on that tree. Maybe in Central Park. I don't know. But well, we have the beach close. But anyway, so it is very important to reconnect with that, because that's really our natural state and habitat. When we evolved, we did not have houses. You know what I mean? We lived in caves. We lived outside. So it's still. I'm not saying we should go back to that. It's nice to have your own, apartment or house or whatever. But to feed you spiritually, it's very important to reconnect in that way. Even if it's just sitting in your backyard, or if you have a balcony and feel the sun on your skin. I mean, that's why vitamin D is so important. Like nature literally feeds us when we are in it. Literally.
David, you wanted to add something to that, buddy?
It was just basically what Joe was saying. And it's called grounding, and it's scientifically been studied. The earth will absorb some sort of electrical, our bodies are made of electricity. So it literally sucks some of that out. And in theory, it sucks out the bad energy. John does it all the time. He's got a grounding mat at home.
I sleep on grounding sheets every night.
I was going to say, so John, you've had a big turnaround in your belief after you finish. We've only got a few minutes. Previously, when you would finish a paranormal investigation, you would come home and not really cleanse or do anything, and just felt like it's fine. Yeah. You've had an entire transformation now, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. I've had an awakening, I guess you would say. But I'm very more interested in grounding myself and just doing other methods of protecting myself. Yeah, definitely. I work outside in nature. Nature helps out a lot.
Right on.
And I work with trees. I cut down trees for a living.
He's a professional tree hugger.
Yes, 30 years in the making. Trees.
You guys, do yourself a favor. Take off your damn Keds and your Nikes. Take off your socks and go put your feet in the grass. I mean it. I'm not being a joke. I mean it. Find a patch of grass, put your feet on it because it feels good, and just make sure it's no dog shit.
No doubt about it. All right, guys, we just have a few minutes before we no live. Oh, did our live feed freeze?
No, I think it was just that
one person.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have any final thoughts about Cecil or anything else before we take off?
Because we're going to go over to YouTube and we'll chat with you over there too.
I guess shout out to all the new subscribers. We just passed 13,000. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
That's
guys.
really awesome, guys.
Yeah, on the episode tonight. And if anybody here from our website is here, just know that when we finish the episode tonight, we're going to head over to the website and chat with you guys there, just so you know. And thank you guys all for being here.
Thank you
As
so much.
always,
It's
thank
exciting.
you for your support.
Yeah.
And we so very much appreciate you and all the comments. They make us so happy.
They do.
And we'll see you guys during the episode.
And
in a couple
enjoy
minutes.
part 1 of the Cecil Hotel.
Yes, part 2 will be next week.
Go pop your popcorn. See you in a
Let's
minute.
do it.
See
Bye,
you guys
guys.
there.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys, love y'all.
Strong.
Strong.
Oh.